Good morning. Everyone had coffee? Great. Okay, so welcome to the 2019 Annual Fellows Meeting. It's always exciting. We look forward to it every year. Look forward to hearing from our fellows, meet old friends, make new friends. Can this be switched on? Oh, okay, yeah. All right, so let me start by welcoming all of you, the fellows, very importantly our committee members who are here. The fellows make us look good, and the committee members select the fellows who make us look good. So both of them deserve equal thanks. There are some fellows from the Africa Deltas program here. Please meet with them, interact with them, and see if you can establish collaborations between the two geographies. We also have India Science Media Fellows. Those who are here, can you please stand up? There are 4 of you around here. So these are basically professional journalists who have been funded by India Alliance to write about science stories. They would be going around talking to you. So talk to them in simple language. Cut the jargon. Also, colleagues from DBT, welcome. CR UK, they will be here. Cancer Research UK, and we would be starting a new program with them hopefully this year. And India Bioscience, we do a lot of stuff with India Bioscience. And of course, the India Alliance staff who do all the hard work so that I can stand here and talk. Okay. This has been really a phenomenal year for us. Late last year, India Alliance finished 10 years of its existence, and we celebrated this in a big way with the leadership from Government of India extending a very, very, should I say, warm and engaged effort with us. The Honorable President of India graced the occasion. So did the Minister for Science and the leadership from DBT, and welcome. We are really very, very grateful to all of them for all the support they've given us all these years. Let me go over the last 10 years in maybe 10 minutes. At this time, in the first phase, 10 years, we gave out 351 fellowship awards with fellows located at 99 different institutions in 37 cities across India. If you look at the funding pattern, 80% of our fellowships have gone to people early in their career, to early career fellows and to intermediate fellows. And the graphic at the bottom tells you what % of fellowships are still active, what have numbers that have people who have finished the fellowships, and so on and so forth. So we have a very healthy mix of young and more experienced people. We have a very healthy mix of fellows who are on their fellowship now, those who have finished their fellowship, and those who are yet to activate their fellowships. Have we made an impact? So again, I'll make 10-year impact in 10 points. India Alliance became the first funding agency in India to set up a completely online platform for managing its grants. Many of you all of you who are fellows have used this. You've had troubles with it. Some of you have not had troubles with it, but nevertheless, we've sorted those things out. I feel that we have contributed to the brain gain in the country, and the graphic on the right tells you that story. Briefly, in interviews, 83% of former fellows say they are still continuing to work in India, and of the active fellows, only 4% say that they will move out of India after their fellowship is over. So that's a pretty good number. We have provided support to very high quality researchers, and they have come back by producing work that is highly cited in global literature. And the graphic at the bottom shows you something called the relative citation ratio of our fellows. And RCR of 1 means that somebody is publishing at the global average. India Alliance Fellows have a RCR of 1.5. So essentially, you're publishing 50% better than the global average. And we have compared that to UK medical researchers who have a comparable RCR at 1.39. Significantly, Indian researchers who are not India Alliance Fellows have an RCR which is much lower. This is nothing to be proud of or to gloat about. I think it becomes our responsibility to make sure that the bar in the middle comes up. It's very, very important for the ecosystem. Over 10 years, you have produced 720 publications and 10 patents. More than the number of papers that you have produced, it's where you have published these papers. You've published in some of the best journals that are available in the world. And I'm not using the word impact factor here. You've also made us proud by being leaders in your field. You have won Infosys prizes, you have won Bhatnagar Awards, you have become members of the National Academies in India. We have 3 EMBO Young Investigator Awards, and these are the only 3 awards that have been given to India. And 1 HHMI International Research Scholar Award. Again, that's the only one that HHMI gave in the last round. So there's much to be proud of for what our fellows have done over the past 10 years. We have helped in capacity building, and you have been our partners in that. Our fellows have trained over 1,300 young researchers in their labs as PhD students, as postdocs, as technicians, undergraduate researchers, so something to be really proud of. Through our SciComs, we have trained over 2,500 early career researchers, and the leadership program, the developing Indian physician scientist workshops, the research methodology workshops. These have been on for just a few years, but the impact they are beginning to make is really visible. We have set up collaborative networks. You have set up collaborative networks with about 250 different labs around the world. We have started the India EMBO Symposia program in collaboration with EMBO, which are large interdisciplinary meetings that we fund in India, and they have been quite a success. And we started the Africa-India Mobility Fund, which allows Indian researchers to go to Africa for short periods of time to establish collaboration. And similarly, it enables African scientists to come to India to establish collaborations. And that's why it's so important that you meet the Delta Fellows who are here at this meeting and talk to them about possibilities. We are very aware of the diversity, and we have worked very hard to achieve that diversity. Today, 33% of India Alliance Fellows are women, but if you look at the graph, about 50% of our early career researchers are women. That falls to 38% at the intermediate level, and only about 10 or 12% at the senior fellowship level. There is a leaky pipeline here as anywhere else in the world, but we have addressed that, at least for our fellows, by providing a 1-year full cost extension of the fellowship to a fellow who goes on maternity leave. And we hope that other funding agencies in India will emulate that and support women in science. We have produced, hopefully, a more aware and engaged public through our open access policy and through our public engagement efforts, and many of you are aware of these efforts through our newsletters. And also, in the way we look at research impact, we are using different metrics. So, for example, we don't use journal impact factors either to assess people for our fellowships or to assess them during the fellowship. We really go to great lengths to understand what you have done, how you have done it, and assess you for what you have produced. And from this year, we are also starting to consider papers that are submitted in international archives, bioarchives, for example, as equivalent to published work when we assess people. I talked about the India Science Media Fellowships. Some of the fellows are here. So, this is an effort to get professional journalists to talk to scientists and write about science. So please, they are here at the meeting, engage with them. At the 10th year meeting, we also started something called the Explorer Series, which are public talks given by fellows to young students, school students, college students. And this is a program that we are now taking countrywide, and we really hope to engage our fellows in this so that they can also take things out to the public and get young students interested in science and engaged with science. As you know, we started phase 2. Government of India approved, the cabinet approved this in late March, and we have now started phase 2 with twice the funding from DBT, which is very, very nice, and we're very thankful to them as well as to welcome for continuing to support us. The fellowships will continue just as they did in phase 1. What we are adding to phase 2 is grants, and we're adding 2 kinds of grants. Team science grants, which would be interdisciplinary, multi-institutional grants, and these would be designed to address health challenges for India. The other thing we are doing is to strengthen India's clinical research ecosystem, and for that we have put out grant calls for the clinical and public health research centers, and embedded within those centers would be the clinical research training program. The details of all of this is available on our website, but if you want to talk to us, come and talk to us. What is the purpose of this meeting? This meeting is for you to report your results and to receive feedback. We have a lot of committee members here. We have other fellows here. Talk to people. Get feedback on your work. Some of you will also go through the midterm critical review, and hopefully it will be critical. There would also be some early and late reviews. This year, all the reviews would be at the posters. People who are giving talks are not going to be reviewed at the talks, and therefore I really request people who are giving talks to keep it general. Don't do a data overload so that this diverse audience can understand you better. We also expect you to establish collaboration with other fellows at this meeting, and of course, to meet India Alliance staff, to understand our policies and processes, and there would be a session on the 3rd day morning dealing with that. You can discuss the new initiatives that I talked about with the grants team, and the finance people are here. If you are having any financial troubles with your fellowships, do sit down and discuss with them. They're very friendly people. The meeting structure is such, we have about 110 fellows attending the meeting. We have 13 talks and 96 posters. There would be keynote lecture by Dr. Abhay Bang later tonight, and a lecture by the director of the Science Museum in Bangalore on day 2. We also have a session on research ecosystems, where we will talk about leadership, we will talk about research management, and we will talk about evidence to policy. And there would be a session on managing stress. Don't let the annual fellows meeting stress you out, but I'm sure in your own labs you have stress which you need to learn to manage, which we all need to learn to manage. So my advice to all of you is, as far as the fellowships are concerned, please read your award letter. Even if you're in the 4th year of your fellowship, it's not a bad time to start reading your award letter. A lot of queries we get is because people haven't read their award letter. The old saying that if it's not working, go back and read the manual. So please read your award letter and follow policies. Provide timely updates to your grant advisors. It keeps a lot of problems that come later under control. And your grant spend report is your responsibility. It's not our responsibility. And it's very stressful for the office to spend 5, 6, 10 emails getting the right grant spend report. If we start doing it for every fellow, we just don't have the manpower to do that. So please use the grant spend report to communicate the financial matters properly. And unless we have the right grants report, your next bit of money will not be released. So at the end, it's you who are the loser if this is not done properly. In publications also, please acknowledge India Alliance for the funding. Besides being a statutory responsibility, it's also good manners. So please acknowledge the funding, and there is a specific format for that, which I'm sure the office has shared with you. Please follow that format. It helps us, get these publications in the open access public domain, which brings me to the point of EuroPMC. You have produced 700 plus papers, but only 465 papers are at this point linked to EuroPMC. So please go back, activate your EuroPMC accounts, and link everything to it. We follow an open access policy, and it's really against our policy not to have papers. And we are going to start holding people accountable to it. At your next release, you will be asked whether your papers have been linked to EuroPMC or not. Welcome Open Research is also a platform which is available for you to publish. And at this time, 16 articles are present on the India Alliance Gateway on Welcome Open Research. In short, participate. You get a newsletter, contribute to the newsletter. Tell the world about how you're doing, the exciting work that you're doing. Engage with us, engage with the public through our public engagement activities. Essentially be our ambassadors. You have a responsibility to yourself, you have a responsibility to your institution, and you have a bit of responsibility to us also as a funder to be ambassadors. Continue to do well and push your limits and push the boundaries of science. That's very, very important. Become responsible scientists. If any one of you are on Facebook or read the Hindu newspaper, you know what's going on. I don't have to stand up here and say it, which means that each one of us need to understand the ethics that we have to follow in research, and not just understand yourself, but communicate it to your students, people who work with you to follow. And if any of our fellows comes into the limelight in a wrong way, we will take action. I mean, this is very clear. Get mentorship, become mentors, and for that, a survey is going to go out to you in the following days on mentorship needs that you have or how you can contribute to mentorship. Please take time to answer that survey, because we are trying to see what the mentorship landscape is in the country. Learn to communicate with stakeholders, and the stakeholders you are really, really finally responsible to is the taxpayer and the public that it pays your bills. And become tomorrow's science leaders. In short, that's what we want you to be. This is the annual report. There are some copies on tables. These copies are only for display. We are saving on paper, so we're not printing large numbers of copies, but it's freely available online, so please feel free to access it. And finally, no matter how much you plan, things can go wrong and things will go wrong. We had organized to produce these very nice meeting bags with different model systems on it, but we didn't take into account that courier services can go wrong. So half the bags were delivered, the other half are not delivered. So the point is that things will go wrong, learn from it, and move on. We'll probably use different couriers next year. So thank you very much for your attention, and enjoy the meeting. Have a very good meeting. Thank you.